The young lady flatters me. It was not love at first sight. For either of us. There was attraction, certainly. At least on my part.
Bridgerton has been one of Netflix's most popular shows since it first launched in 2020, and for good reason. It's set in the Regency era, full of lavish costumes, ballroom drama, and of course the messy romances of the Bridgerton siblings. Each season has focused on a different family member's love story, and now Season 4 is set to spotlight Benedict, a character fans have been eager to see in the lead. That's exciting news, but even with Benedict finally stepping into the spotlight, there's one problem the show just can't escape: the noticeable absence of Daphne. Daphne, the eldest Bridgerton daughter, was the central figure of Season 1. She made a dazzling debut with her beauty, charm, and unforgettable romance with Simon Bassett, the Duke of Hastings. Her story was the one that set the tone for the entire series, and she quickly became a fan favorite. But once her romance wrapped up, her presence on the show began to fade. She popped back up briefly in Season 2, but after that, she vanished altogether. Whether this was a decision made by Phoebe Dynevor, who plays Daphne, or by the creative team behind Bridgerton, the result is the same. Viewers are left scratching their heads about why Daphne has been missing for so long. The strange thing is that Bridgerton hasn't even tried to explain her absence. Daphne hasn't just skipped over small gatherings, she's been absent from some of the most important family events, like Colin and Francesca's weddings. It's not like the writers couldn't have given an excuse. They could have easily said Daphne was unwell, expecting another child, or off traveling with Simon. But instead, the show has been completely silent about her, and that silence makes her disappearance feel even more glaring. Things are only going to get worse in Season 4 because Anthony and Kate are confirmed to return. Their romance was at the heart of Season 2, and they continued to have meaningful roles in Season 3. Now they're back again for Season 4, which is great for fans of the couple, but it also makes Daphne's absence stick out even more. If Anthony and Kate are still part of the family storylines, why wouldn't Daphne be included too? The fact that other married siblings keep showing up while Daphne doesn't just deepens the mystery. The longer the show avoids talking about Daphne, the more it hurts itself. Bridgerton thrives on family drama, and Daphne is supposed to be one of the most important members of that family. When she doesn't even get mentioned, it's like a hole in the narrative, and audiences can't help but notice. And honestly, this isn't a problem that's going to go away on its own. If Bridgerton keeps brushing Daphne under the rug, viewers are only going to get more frustrated. What makes things trickier is the possibility that more actors might decide to step away from the show as the time goes on. Jonathan Bailey, who plays Anthony, has seen his career skyrocket since Bridgerton. At some point, he might not be interested in sticking around for minor appearances. If this starts happening with other cast members, Bridgerton could run into a serious issue where too many siblings are missing, and by Season 8 there might not be many Bridgertons left to focus on. That's why the show needs to deal with its Daphne problem now. Phoebe Dynevor has actually said in interviews that she would be open to returning if the story called for it. So the solution seems pretty straightforward: either bring her back for future storylines, or at least write in a proper explanation for where she's been. If Bridgerton doesn't take action, it risks weakening the entire family dynamic that makes the show so appealing in the first place. It doesn't help that Daphne's timeline in the series feels so abrupt. She went from being the face of the show in Season 1 to a supporting character in Season 2, and then disappeared altogether in Season 3. Now that we know she won't be in Season 4 either, it really looks like her character has been discarded. Even though Dynevor has said she thought Daphne's story had naturally run its course, that doesn't mean audiences feel the same way. Many viewers would still like to see Daphne have a role in her siblings' lives, even if her own romance has already been wrapped up. The real kicker is that Daphne is about to miss another huge milestone: Benedict's wedding. Weddings are central events in Bridgerton, and it's hard to believe that Daphne, who is written as a devoted sister, wouldn't be there to celebrate. She's already skipped Colin and Francesca's weddings, which was frustrating enough, but missing Benedict's will make things even worse. By then, it won't just be a matter of one or two absences, it will be a pattern that doesn't line up with who Daphne is supposed to be. And that creates another problem. The longer Daphne is gone, the harder it will be to bring her back later. If she'd only missed one season, her absence could have been explained away with something minor, like illness or travel. But by season 4, it's going to be more difficult to justify why she's been missing from her siblings' most important moments. The show risks painting her into a corner where any attempt to reintroduce her feels forced or unrealistic. What makes this even more frustrating is that Dynevor herself hasn't completely closed the door on returning. In fact, she said she would happily come back if she were asked. That means the ball is really in Bridgerton's court. If the show wants to preserve Daphne's place in the family, it should invite her back before it becomes too late to do so naturally. Daphne's absence isn't just disappointing for fans who miss her, it actually hurts the storytelling too. In Bridgerton, it's tradition for the married siblings to give advice to the ones still searching for love. Daphne did this briefly in season 2, where she helped Anthony, but since then, she hasn't been around to guide her brothers or sisters. Without her, Benedict's love story is missing a perspective that only she could bring. Anthony and Colin might step in with advice, but the show loses a valuable female viewpoint that could balance things out. We've already seen the effects of Daphne's absence in other storylines. In the original books by Julia Quinn, Daphne plays a bigger role in her siblings' romances. For instance, Colin leans on her while navigating his relationship with Penelope, but in the show that role was shifted to Violet. And Francesca, who had one of the most emotional arcs in season 3, never got to have her sister's input, which could have added more depth. By removing Daphne, those stories felt like they were missing a crucial layer. There's also a bigger issue at play here. Daphne's exit sets a dangerous precedent for the rest of the series. If Bridgerton continues this pattern where the lead of one season slowly fades away until they disappear, the show could be in trouble. Anthony already had a reduced role in season 3 compared to his starring turn in season 2, and if that trend continues, we might see each sibling slowly vanish after their story is told. That would mean by the time the series reaches its final seasons, the ensemble cast that audiences love might barely exist anymore. Bridgerton doesn't have to follow that pattern though. If anything, Daphne's situation should be a warning sign that the show needs to rethink how it handles its characters after their central love story is over. Just because a sibling finds their happily ever after doesn't mean they can't still play a meaningful role in the family drama. Fans would love to see married siblings like Daphne continue to pop up, offer advice, and be present for milestones, even if they're no longer the main focus. If Bridgerton wants to keep its audience invested through all 8 seasons, it has to maintain the sense of a united family. Letting key characters disappear without explanation weakens that bond. Daphne in particular is too important to be erased this way. She was the one who started the journey for viewers, and ignoring her existence makes the show feel incomplete. So as season 4 approaches, the Daphne problem looms larger than ever. She won't be there for Benedict's wedding, and unless the show makes some effort to explain why, fans are going to keep noticing the gap. The only way forward is for Bridgerton to either bring her back into the fold or finally give a satisfying in-story reason for her absence. Without one, the show risks undermining the very heart of what makes Bridgerton so compelling, the bonds between the siblings. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.